Excuse me, Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, the #1 sports information program in America, the Breakfast Bankroll, with your host, the sports broker, Jeff Dawson.
Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. Yes, it's time. This is your Breakfast Bankroll for Friday, March 10th, 2023. Congrats to Massachusetts. 36 minutes ago, 7 apps have launched. Let the games begin. And I tell you what, I'm smiling ear to ear because I just had a quick 15-minute little pregame pep talk with our weekly friend, colleague, and guest, Mr. John Murges. But earlier this morning, someone popped in and says, "Hey, JD, happy launch day. Let's squeeze me in." And when this happens, we clear the desk. Blessed and honored to have the real Vegas Dave, Mr. Dave Sharapan, along with us. Between John and Dave, I mean, there's 5 decades of actual sportsbook risk experience, stories. I mean, we could talk for hours. Dave's got a million shows to go. John's got a million clients to deal with. So I am just going to be, as our friend Brady Tinker would say, the man in the middle. I'm just going to have fun, and I'm going to throw soft lobs here and let the games begin. So let's see if I can do this correctly. Let's bring in our 2 guests, Mr. John Murges, Mr. Dave Sharapan.
Good morning.
Oh! Oh! What? He did it. Listen,
I did it.
Well, I knew you were going to be fine. I was more worried about Dawson. Listen, it was a pick 'em whether this 3-way thing was going to work. So, cash the first ticket of the morning. It's not on an app in Massachusetts, but we got the 3 of us on the same screen, on the same feed. Murges, you even have the ring light working. God,
the ring light's working. You know, I've got a little window open for some sunlight. You know how it goes.
JD, did you see this guy throwing ask him how his arm is, because he's trying to throw 50 miles an hour in the radar gun and realizes, he's too old to be, even given an inning. He's really just a bullpen guy now.
I think it's torn. I really do. I think it's a tear.
We got Carlos Rondon in Florida already here. And speaking of those days, out of college, wet behind the ears, trying to impress the new date at the Barnstable County Fair, and I'm getting up there. I got it up to 76, 77, always tried to get it to the 80. Then I'm walking around like this for weeks. I mean, I never could win anything anyways.
You got to be careful. Well, you won today. We got Massachusetts has betting apps. Murges now has a service. I mean, there's all you got us all here this morning. You got internet. I mean, seriously, let's just have an internet right now. Everybody can breathe, rest easy. You got Kiefer on the wheels of steel, making sure everything sounds good, looks good. This is all coming together. The plan is coming together, man.
Hey, field the dreams, build it, they will come. You've talked about it at length, Dave. Hey, we're just going to do it. We're just going to do it on our own. We're going to build the dream team, and we're just moving.
It's one of those
off of cue cards, that's for sure.
Yeah, there's no rundown, there's no script. We're just going to get together and hammer this thing out. First and foremost, how are things up there, JD? Because already you're seeing people talking about there's too many ads. And Murges is in a state that tried it and pulled it back down in Florida. Between all of us, you did say it and it actually hit home, that we have multiple decades of experience in this space. What's it like up there? Because it's like like we just landed on the moon. That's what it feels like, at least on social media and from talking to people.
What's today? Today is Friday. On Wednesday, we had Billy Spiros in from the Boston Herald and talking about this. We brought him on 6 weeks ago as the brick and mortars launched, and we're waiting for the hiccups. There's been 4 hiccups. There has been 4 college bets that somehow slipped through the crevices, and they got their slaps on the wrist. But Billy has been talking about it, and you guys would know this. Massachusetts and Ohio are trying to set the standards. And I know every day I get 5-10 emails from every one of these guys talking about free money. And there's no such thing as, all you guys know, is free money. Some of these guys are to the point, I won't even call them out on the show, and I should. Deposit X. We're going to give you Y in free bets, but only after you bet 50 here, and your free bet has to be on a money line minus 150 or greater.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Murges, that's like one of them old things like back in the day when you would give the guy a little bit of play money, right? You gave him a little bit of leeway and let him play, and then hope they paid. Back in the day, that's how
Set
it
the hook.
operated.
Yeah, exactly. Set that hook and reel them in.
Oh boy,
And that's what we did, Dave. You know how it worked, especially in the offshore business.
man! Oh man, that's you get them in, and this is what they're trying to do, JD. They're trying to get people in.
And here's what I'm finding out: the 3 E's: ego, entertainment, and how much education do you want? Everyone has been wired so long where they want to hold that golden ticket. They want to say, I told you so. I told you. And the problem is they don't want to come in for a tune-up. They don't want to come in for a rewiring, because at the end of the day, what's a couple $100 for the week on entertainment? Meanwhile, their book has, a house in Costa Rica. You've already funded 2 college tuitions at UConn. And yet, I'm looking on a 3rd house next door to John Murges. And the 4th house is going to be in Las Vegas next to Mr. Sharapan.
Wow. Business is good. That's good to hear. I mean, that's impressive. Because,
wait a second, can we get underground tunnels like to each other's house and kind of like plan this out correctly? I like the idea.
Yeah, we're gonna get it where there's a beach. It's very important. Jeffrey always sends me these pictures sometimes of these walks that he gets to on the beach, like in the neighborhood. I need a beach. I'm landlocked in Vegas, and it's a lot of brown. I miss the green, and I miss that smell of the beach and ocean air.
I'm sorry, Dave.
You both have that.
You've been in Vegas too long.
I know.
All you see is brown. When I come out, I see like red, orange. I see all those colors.
You see the colors, man.
I see the colors. You become colorblind to the desert.
Right.
But when you come out there, you see, especially, your sunrise, tweets with the photos.
That's
see the colors.
I like the sunrise. You're right, but see, you guys have done it. You guys have come to Vegas for years and done your trips to Vegas. You've done trips with me in Vegas. It's a little bit different. We get, some big ass omelets, and we get some time running around, driving here, stopping here, shaking hands here, taking picture time from the books and doing all that. It's exhausting. I mean, it's tiring. It's fun as hell, but it's tiring.
We got to get together every day.
Yeah, we got to do it. We got to do it a little more often. I think the plan, I dressed up in all the Boston stuff today. I went with the alternative, Boston stuff for this is just especially for you, JD. I'm going to go on all the shows that I'm doing today like this. But what is the and we've talked about this off the air, but like, what's going to happen when you get this big in-person experience? Because today's all about the mobile. Get everybody on the app, get everybody playing. But when are we having, like, maybe a Red Sox weekend and a visit to the book? That's coming pretty soon, is it not?
Yeah, I mean, Raynham, when I talked to Billy, they're going to open, and they're shooting. My assumption is they have the OTB all set up. So my assumption might be the first Saturday in May, which coincides with the Kentucky Derby. And Raynham will be, I thought it was the East Coast. They will be the largest sports book in the country once they're finished building this thing. So I'm 55 minutes from there. And if we plan this trip correctly, we can get the sports book, the live at the sports book. We can get some Cape League baseball games. We can maybe get a trip to Fenway, lobsters, you name it, we got.
Murges, you in? What do
Yeah,
you think?
I'm definitely in. I'm line managing over here. I'm seeing an Indiana line move. Um, I'm like, oh,
He's looking at the basketball.
yeah.
It never stops when you watch the lines. It never stops. It's a lifestyle. It's what you do every morning. But Murges, this Big Ten basketball, I mean, you got the Chicago roots and they never go away.
Yeah.
I saw you tweeting about some things in the past that may or may not have happened. But what are you looking at for college basketball this morning? I mean, I see you already over there looking. What are you doing?
I'm just checking out some games. Pre-show, Jeff and I had a little conversation about a
Oh,
couple games. I don't want to
oh,
disclose anything,
okay.
I don't know, Jeff. You got the apps available, but they're not funded. Am I correct?
In what regards?
Look, your apps. Did you fund them? Did you
You got to
go
load
and
them up, but you got a
yeah,
whole process, Jeff. Talk about what it's like to load up an
yeah.
app. Oh,
While I
God.
check out the
Okay.
lines, please, Jeff.
it's a little bit more difficult than loading up an app it is in Vegas, is it not?
It's a 55-minute
So
drive
we
for
had-
one, that's for sure.
We had the and I won't call this company out, but here's the funny story in a nutshell. I was doing all my due diligence and I was doing it correctly. And when it came to my cell phone number, I put my cell phone number in. Well, this company autofilled it and added a 1 to the number. So instead of my number coming out correctly, there was an extra 1 out front. So my number is wrong. So when I opened up the app and I tried to get the confirmation to confirm it from their text, it was getting sent to the wrong cell phone number. So I very nicely and politely called them, and I had this woman on for the first 8 minutes who was a darling. And then in the last 10 minutes, let's just say she was, I can't say it out loud how bad she was. And her words were she was going to send me an email and this would be corrected. I never got the email. So I did a follow-up the next day, and this woman spent 35 minutes to finally get the correct email sent to me. Well, there's 10 different forms that I need, 6 different pictures. I need this, I need that. And I'm like, you know what? Obviously, you don't want my business that bad. But it got to the security, like I've already had this app. I've been using them when I was just trying to open this app.
Yeah. See, Murges, this is the problem. Like with you when you launch in a new state, there's so many hiccups and headaches, and you've seen these things happen, in a different world, but it's the same thing. I've seen them here for literally decades. It should be a lot easier because, if you put out your plays, the account's funded, you can just make the plays and get the right number. Because you see what's happening in college basketball this week, especially, the numbers are very important. I mean, they're falling really close to the numbers, not so much on the totals, but the sides are within a point or two so many times. That's like, would you say, Murges, this week is one of the hardest weeks of the year as far as betting college basketball? I'm trying to tell people, and JD's doing it too, but like, if you're just diving in this week, it's pretty tough, is it not?
It's a crapshoot. That's the
Oh,
only way I can equate it, Dave. It's a crapshoot. Not only is it the hardest week of the year every year, but this has been one of the hardest weeks that I've experienced, and many other people, just because the lines are so damn sharp.
mm,
They're coming so close, and you see it. That's why I'm keep turning my head in amazement. They're just it's like watching forex,
right? It is.
green, red, blue,
It's
yellow. You know,
It's nuts.
it's nuts.
Dave. Dave, before we came on, Dave, and you and I have spent hours upon hours sitting at the South Point and just watching and listening to the war stories as Jimmy Vaccaro, Chris Andrews come over, or the boys from VEASAN coming and going, Mr. Yeomans, Mr. Brady Cannon, all those good people just coming in. Brent once in a while will give us a little wave back in the day. But I talked to you about setting numbers, and John and I were talking about this. I'm going to give you 2 games, because you're in the risk room. You had a big night last night. You came home, got a cat nap, and you got to set the numbers straight for the morning when you come in with your Dunkin' Donuts and the boys are sitting there waiting for you with their bagel, egg, and cheeses. Okay.
Hmm.
Here's a perfect example. Indiana and Maryland today. Okay.
Yep.
The true number is a pick 'em.
Hmm.
Everyone knows everyone's playing Indiana today. It shot up to 2. It even shot up to 2.5 buybacks. Okay.
Hmm.
So we talk about the carrot, we talk about the hook, whatever you want to talk about it. Can you explain to the newbies, especially John's new people, what that's all about? Like saying, hey guys, we're going to make a stance on Maryland because we know they're going to bet Indiana. Therefore, let's open it up at a pick 'em and watch that number rise.
Well, I mean, sometimes you just put it up and hope you get bets on both sides, but a lot of times you don't. So when you move it, you just move it until you find the resistance. They haven't found it yet. They went from pick to 2. I see 1 for an opener in some places, and it just went to 2. So again, it's just one of those things. Like, these games book themselves. And this week, I used to say, is the easiest week for the book because you have so much volume, and there's so many people that, like, I mean, out west, we wake up and we're literally having breakfast with basketball. There's basketball before breakfast, unless you were up early like me watching the World Baseball Classic, and watching Japan and Shohei and really enjoying that this morning. That was fun. But yeah, these games, I mean, we had a discussion yesterday on Bostonian versus the book. The clip's coming out, like, that went out last night. I'm going to retweet it today, about following steam. And, Matt was trying to say, well, you can see now, would you say that following steam is the right side in this week and next week? And I said, what are you talking about? Sometimes when you play with steam, you get burned. Like, there's no right way, one way to do this. This is what you guys know. I say it all the time in the tweets. I say it on shows. Nobody knows shit. This week is a perfect example of nobody knowing shit. This is really hard. So I think you have to, with all of the games there are, I think you have to be more selective than ever. That's why you got to defer to guys like you who are doing this all season. This isn't the first time you opened up a college basketball board, either one of you. I mean, Jeff's got a little gray on the sides. Murges got a little gray down here. It's not your first
Yeah.
rodeo. You ain't
No.
playing 8, 10, 12 games today. You're just selectively, setting up in the corner, waiting for somebody to pass you the ball and take a shot at the 3. We're doing that 1, 2, or 3 times. All these people like to come in and they bet the first session, then they bet the second session. Then you get a little quick lunch break and you come back for the mid-afternoon game, and then before you know it, there's games all day and night. So yeah, I would say to be cautious, to be selective, and to know that you could be on a completely wrong side referee's going to review something at the end and there's going to be a foul or two and you're going to lose by a point. That's perfectly normal. That's okay.
It's so true. It's so
Oh.
true, and we've seen it this year, Dave. I mean, like, with so many games that it's just so amazing. I'm so amazed at the amount of people that believe that this this tournament, as you said, it's tough. These conference tournaments,
Oh,
DePaul, Xavier. I mean, these teams, they're coming out of nowhere. And I'm not going to get into any conspiracies, of course, but last night USC looked horrible
bad game.
against Arizona
Bad
State.
game. Yeah. That
Yeah,
was a bad
but
game.
Dave, I had no idea when I talked to you. It was about 4:10 this morning Pacific time.
Pacific time. Yeah.
Yeah, 4:10. Dave's watching the World Baseball Classic.
Yep.
I think I'm up early at 7:10. But I was up anyhow. And 4:10, getting in that KBO mode, it's oh my god.
Yeah, I was all about the World Baseball Classic, but I mean, you just mentioned the Big East. JD, you've been to the Big East tournament, and you understand. You got the UConn stuff on. I'm teeing you up now. You want to throw softballs? I'm teeing you up. Okay. You saw yesterday some dogs really gave it their best shot. St. John's almost won, right? DePaul almost won. You could in-game those teams. Like I was actually betting Xavier, and I put a joke out that, does that make you sharp if you bet the 12-point favorite when they were down and they came back and won? Or does that make you lucky? Because I don't know which one it is. I know it gets you to the window. But look at these games today. UConn Marquette, 3.5. Creighton
the one
Xavier
getting 3.5. The one getting 3.5. That's
3.5, right? Like, what are
Yep.
these lines telling you? These are two really hard games. Really hard games, JD.
I as you would know, about 10 days ago, 12 days ago, as soon as it came out, we grabbed the UConn plus 350 to win the Big East tournament. I wanted to sit back and enjoy this situation. In my head, I had UConn 1.5 point favorites against Marquette. Shocked when I saw 3, now up to 3.5. And both you guys know this is people remember what they saw last. And I said when UConn was 14-0 and number 2 in the country, they had just won a tournament in November. They had just beat Alabama by 13. They beat Oregon by 30. I mean, I told everyone, guys, pump the brakes on UConn here. They are months ahead of schedule. Coach wants these guys playing like this in March. And they hit their bumps right out of the tournament. I mean, right out of the Big East schedule. They lost on New Year's Eve at Xavier. Then they lose at Providence. At Providence. And then a week later, then I think they lost at Marquette. They lost 3 out of the first 4. They have rounded into form, and I like them today. I think the number's outrageous. With me at plus 350, I expect them to win. I might pull a Dave Sharapan here today and hope that UConn gets up 10, 12, 13, and maybe dabble, since we have live apps now, on Marquette, catching 8, 9, or 10. I like UConn to win. And in the second game, your co-host, Mr. Matt Peralt, who was all gun-ho all preseason, they got the 30-1, the 35-1 on Creighton. Another team that came out of the gates great, then really, really struggled, but turned it back on in the regular season. He didn't expect them to be here that long. They're 3.5 point favorites against Sean Miller and Xavier. That's a true coin flip to me. But I'll just be open and honest. Dave, I was sitting with you at MGM with Matt, with our friend Julian Edlow last year, and we heard every game talked about but the UConn-New Mexico State game. And I turned to both of you, and I'm like, oh, my God, UConn's going to lose. They're going to lose against New Mexico State. There was not one person in the whole strip that brought that name out. You heard every team but that one. New Mexico State goes box to wire. So I'm afraid that UConn has that moment. They're going to go as far as Jordan Hawkins takes them. I think they can make it to the second weekend. I think they could actually get to the Elite Eight, and they could get to the 5-4. But I think Creighton is built for a long run itself in the big dance, Dave.
Jade, I mean, it's an interesting day. There's so many games, and I mean, those are two really marquee games. Murges, how much do you use the in-game stuff to either help or get out of bad bets? Because a lot of people are going to be watching this show with now the capability to do it on their phone for the first time,
Right.
maybe ever. You've done it now for years. You've seen it. You've used it. You've become a lot more adept at it. I mean, back in the day, you worked at a joint, the game started, you waited till the half times, you answered the phones and did what you had to do, and then you went home. You didn't even watch the games half the time because you were in commutes or going to pick up kids or doing some other stuff. Now, talk about what it's like betting in game for newbies right on their phone, and every game is available, side, total. There's even props.
And you know what? It's funny that you mentioned this because the in game has become a very popular, tool for people that know how to use it.
Yeah.
And you can hedge, you can get out. I made a couple mistakes a couple weeks ago. One
Mhm.
mistake, but it happens. You're tired. I try to limit it now. Now I'll try to limit it
Mm.
unless you can get that what we look for, the edge. We're looking for an edge.
Yep.
If we could find the edge. But my first thing for anybody who's a newer batter, and we have so many people that are newer batters that want they're dying for information. Um and we try to, give it to them on shows like this. We can't say that about all the shows, especially
Right.
the big ones, because they don't care. But that said, using in games can be dangerous
Yeah.
for the newer bettor. Very dangerous. As I call it, it's sports betting crack.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's quick and it's fast and it's
Yeah.
there's like in books here, they've named it the chase. They nicknamed it because you chase, which
Yep.
is a term that is not a good term for gamblers. Gamblers that know when you chase, that means you're chasing losses. You're never really chasing wins. You're pressing wins, you're chasing losses. So I think there's a lot of people that need to be educated, as well as, the 3 E's is pretty good. JD, I like that. We could probably do with less ego, more education, and always entertainment. Like, we could put a little adverb or adjective to go with the 3 E's. And I think that would work out really good. JD, do you like to do in-game wagering? Do you do much of that? No.
I preach and preach and preach. Our Sundays where we grind Monday through Saturday, and as you know, we talk about quicksand Sunday, and we create the story where you wake up Sunday morning. Let's say you're up 3, 4, 5 units. The general public, the DGen, will say, "I'm going to crush this guy. I'm going to turn my plus 3 or 4 or 5 units to 10, 15, 20. He's paying for the trip to the Bahamas next month." And usually what happens is you piss that away by the 4 o'clock games, and now you're chasing to get that money back. And by Monday, when you wake up hungover with a melon out to here, you owe the guy a nickel or a dime. And now the reverse is when you wake up Sunday morning down 3, 4, 5 units, the objective is very simple. I'm not going to pay this man. I want to get even. And you turn your minus 3 or 4 units into minus 8, 9, 10 units, and you've doubled or tripled the losses. And David, you said it best. We're never chasing victories. We're chasing defeats. and I could tell people some war stories that'll make your hair stand up.
I've heard
A
them.
simple money line money line Patriots versus Atlanta Super Bowl. 3 to make 2 on the Patriots, down 28-3, where a good friend and colleague turned that loss into an $8,000 loss because he took minus 3,000 on Atlanta at up 28-3, minus 2,500 with Atlanta at 28-10. And we know the history and what happened. So chasing a $3 wager turned into a $7,000 or $8,000 loss. So I not get into in game. I do not listen. If you're playing college hoops today and you're up 10, 15 on the game, or you're killing the total, I suggest if you want to go in at halftime, maybe put a quarter or a half unit on the middle. God bless you. But you get involved in the in game, and I'm telling you, you are a dream. You are a dream.
Yeah. I like it. I actually I prefer it now rather than pre-flop, like you like to say, in basketball. I just feel like there's so much, variance in the basketball that laying 2.5 today with Indiana, there's probably going to be a time where I could probably just play the money line pick or maybe take a plus or, because the number of lead changes in basketball, the in-game model, I feel like wasn't built for basketball. So I think there's advantages and disadvantages to using it. Betting too much is obviously a disadvantage, but betting better numbers sometimes is an advantage. So you have to kind of look at it, use it for what it's worth. Let's talk about chasing losses. The statute of limitations is already passed, so I can tell this story. But one of the times I was working in a book and a guy was betting, he was betting out of his drawer, which is a complete no. But he was like, yeah, we'll this game can't lose. These guys are sharp. They bet this. I'm going to bet this too. And it was the first game on a Saturday morning, 9 a.m. kickoff in Vegas, and he lost. So 200 on the next game, he lost. 400 on the next game, and he lost. So he went one more about 2 o'clock, whatever he came back from lunch, he must have bet it again. He was stuck 800, 100, 200, 400, 800. The game was losing. He closed his drawer, locked it, and said, I quit, and left and never came back. Quit his job because he couldn't make the 800 right in the drawer. Went out 800 short. And, they went back and looked, and apparently the guy was printing tickets for himself and all these other things. So that's how quick it can happen. You talk about chasing losses. These are the things you have to have the discussion and the frame of reference that guys like us have when you launch a new state and you have a lot of newbies, right? I mean, you got people asking you all the time, John, how do I do this? It's a bit more than there's a great movie called Finding Forrester. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. But Sean Connery asked these questions, and the kid said, that's not exactly a soup question. And how do you do this? Or how do you do your power ratings? Or what should I bet on? It's not exactly a soup question, is it, John?
No, you got 2 days, and we can go over how I do my power ratings if you're interested, but it'll take a couple days. Well, yeah, I mean, I was taught several different systems that I incorporated into one that, it's mine. And I look at it as intellectual property, although I'm far from an intellectual. This is IP. It's not there. Oh, here, man. This is all you got to do.
Yeah.
Because it's not, failure proof.
Right.
B, it's something I use. Produce bouncing 7 and a hook offshore 7. Just to let you guys know, I'm keeping my eyes on these numbers over here. There
Okay.
might be another 2 bets.
Okay.
But it's I get questions. I say, listen, I need 3,000 words, and I'm not going to 3,000 word text somebody or DM somebody. But
we might have to start a seminar. What do you think if we go? I proposed this. I graduated Penn State in 1993, and I was talking about what it was I going to do with my life. And I said, you know what we should do? Like stock guys go around the country and have investment seminars where they
Yeah.
bring people in, charge them something, give them donuts and stuff, and say, I'm an expert. If you want to hire me, you can. All right. This is how you buy and sell stock. I said that we should do this for sports betting. And the guy that was the stock guy, has had the Series 7 test and exam and stuff. He said, well, you can't do that. That's illegal. Sports betting is illegal. And I was like, yeah, but this stock thing isn't all on the up and up either. I mean, let's be honest. They're pretty similar. And he got all bent out of shape. He said, I wear a suit. I do this and I do that. I said, there's guys that wear suits that do a very similar thing. The only thing they're not looking at, General Electric stock. They're looking at Iowa State +4 at Kansas. That's what they're looking at, So I think there's a possibility. JD, can we get this thing? Can we take this show on the road? The Murges, Dawson, and Sharapan consultant.
I love it. I'm ready. Let's go.
When FanDuel opened up in New Jersey, that was part of their promotion where there were some of your so-called sharps in Vegas on their way to New Jersey to have a weekend seminar, just like you're saying, where people would come in, they would sit in classes morning and afternoon. There would be a small poker tournament on Friday night. And then Saturday, again, you'd get a parlay card, and there would be people from all over the country talking exactly what you're preaching. And there should be so many more of these. But problem is, like Massachusetts today, who's on the cover of every billboard, but it's Gronk. And I'm not disrespecting Gronk on the football.
He froze.
Or wherever, whatever you want to say it.
Oh,
but ask Gronk the real game today, or you ask him about a play or a teaser or any of that, and he'd look at you like you had 10 heads.
Yeah.
I got to tell you something, Jeff. You froze up a couple times. We heard you, but because they launched today, they can't handle all the internet and everything that's going on. The 5G, everything is going to be all jammed up there. Everybody and their grandmother is going to want to place a bet today.
This is the problem. Okay. This is one of the busiest days of the year as far as volume in a sports book, right? Yes. We got all these college basketball games. Oh, by the way, we have NBA games. Oh, by the way, we have NHL games. We have World Baseball Classic games, which isn't much. There's spring training games. It's still in the mix. There's tennis. There's soccer. There's golf. Oh, by the way, the Players Championship. JD's into the golf pretty good. He had Brady Cannon on. He's got all kind of things happening with that. There's a lot of things going on. JD, I don't know. I know you have a bunch of hats. I have a bunch of hats. You might need a fireman's hat to put out some fires this weekend, because there's going to be a lot of people going, Jeff, you told me that this was going to work. You told me that these people were going to take my money. You told me I would be able to bet on this. This is part of the things that no one's talking about. Oh, we're going to splash Gronk. The Bruins just announced a big partnership deal with FanDuel. They painted something on the green monster. It was DraftKings last year. It's Barstool this year. It's everywhere.
I don't like it.
There's going to be a book right down by Fenway. Like, it's just too much, too soon, isn't it, Murges?
Well, I don't like this franchise sportsbook relationship, because let's say all three of us are in partnerships. We each have a different business, but we're involved in the same kind of entity, let's say, same kind of business. But each of us have a separate venture in that business.
Yeah.
We have a fiduciary responsibility to each other. us three have a fiduciary responsibility that we all make money. And this is why my biggest thing, for years, Dave, it's been gambling and professional sports. All the sports franchises were against it, except the Rooneys, the Hunts, all the gamblers. All these sports franchise owners were betting on games. But I just don't like this partnership thing. Because they do have, and you're going to raise suspicion. And that tweet that was from Joe Kernan, CNBC. Not that it's God's word, but this guy's saying, listen, when there's money involved, people are going to do things that maybe they wouldn't do. And so we have a little Houston. I think we have a problem.
Right,
Massachusetts, I think we have a problem.
We might have a problem, JD. The church and state are married together with the sports books and the teams and stuff right now, and you're going to be inundated with ads. You already have been. It's going to be nonstop, in your face, bam, bam, bam. It's on signage everywhere. Wait till they get you on your phone. Wait till you get the push notifications. Hey, you haven't logged in for 48 hours. Here's $25. Go play something. Right, Jeff? This is what's coming.
And the sad part about it is my good friend said, hey, you're going to be real busy in 2 weeks. I was like, what do you mean by that? He goes, well, after everyone blew all their free bets and they're broke, now they're going to be finally running to you. And I can tell you the war stories of, hey, Jeff, I just sent $5,000 to this real credited sports service, and I lost 4,200 of it in the last 10 days. Can you get me my money back? And I'm like, dude, you should have came to me the first time. Second of all, I'm not a scratch ticket. We're in, as me and John were talking, and Dave, you know this. The problem that it is not presented out there on these ads is the daily grind. Is the marathon approach, is the journey. It's not get rich, get quick. Oh my God, no. I got to pay my mortgage on Wednesday. Let me go hit a 15-legged parlay like I see on social media every day.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. And anyone watching, follow these two guys. I'm going to let you two finish the show. I got about 2 minutes until I got to go do another show I'm doing with Keith and Moose this morning with Better Sports Network. We're going to talk about this show and Massachusetts launch, and then Bostonia versus the book at around 10:15. You guys are both dear friends of the show. And
one of my favorite shows, by the way.
Appreciate that. I appreciate that, both of you. But, yeah, good luck to anyone watching. Good luck to Massachusetts. We're putting together the LLC paperwork as we speak for the consultant service. We call it the JJD. How about that?
I like it.
Or DJJ, DJ squared. I don't know. I like music. We could be DJ squared. Well, we'll figure out the actual numbers and letters and stuff, but I think there may be a future there for
hey, when we hit the road, I have one of those, and and do our classes. I've got the overhead projector that I took from my grammar school. You know how you put it on? They put the screen down. The overhead projector where you put paper in there.
I know this that Jeffrey is driving. Jeffrey drives a lot. Jeffrey is driving. I don't want Murges driving and then thinking about talking and all this other stuff. You can ride shotgun. I'm just going to sit in the back and talk on the phone, most likely, or talk to you guys, or sleep. I'm a really good sleeper in the car. So I am definitely not driving. Jeffrey, you drive. Murges, you book us where we need to go.
Okay.
And get the tea times lined up and the good meals and stuff. And then we'll just I'm not even kidding. This is a plan. This is how we spend the back nine, boys. This is what we're doing.
Jeff and I'll spend another hour after you're gone talking about just this alone.
There you go. All right.
Surprise, Dave. Good to see you,
hey,
buddy.
Dave, you got 30 seconds. I know you got to go. Tell everyone where they can find you today on the grid, everywhere else.
So it's funny because I'm texting Matt Vescursion right now. He's on the MLB Network. I'm not going to go on there today, but I'll be on there soon. Every day, Monday through Friday, is Bostonian versus the Book live on the YouTube channel, and it replays on Sports Grid and Sirius XM every night. But that's 10 o'clock Pacific, 1 o'clock Eastern ish. It's our show, so it's not right on a schedule, which I kind of like. Then every day, Monday through Friday, Sports Grid TV, 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern. Me, Gabe, Cam, Ranieri, Dubsy, a couple other cast of characters, and then some intermittent stuff like Better Sports Network today with Keith and Moose, which the guys calling me right
Information
now.
you can use more or less.
That's all. It's all good.
Have fun,
Enjoy,
Dave.
boys. Thanks for having me. Murges, good seeing
Thank
you.
you,
Jeffrey,
Dave.
continued success. I'll talk to you
Good
later.
to see you, buddy.
Catch up.
All right, Dave. Oh, that was
He
a
is
surprise. I didn't know
amazing.
Dave was
He
going
is
to be on
Dave's-
today.
Well, I didn't want to.
Sorry.
I didn't want to. You and I came on. I was waiting for him to get into the studio, and I thought it would be a nice surprise for you.
I saw scrolling on the bottom. I'm like, oh, great. I'll take that scroll, man. It says Dave Sharapan, Sportsbook Consig, Cash Consideration Show, Bostoni versus the Book. And I said to myself, oh, that's great. I won't even say anything to Jeff. And then sure enough, there he pops up. That's the true legend right there.
Well, he has been an amazing friend. I think we're coming up on our 4th year. We met on social media. I was, I think, second or third guest on their Cash Consideration Show in December of the first year. And then I met him in March at South Point, and I bought him lunch, and we sat there for 4 hours. We got lunch at the Del Mar, and we're sitting in the sports book. And again, Jimmy Vaccaro comes up, Chris Andrews comes up, the cast of characters from VSiN coming on, coming off would come up to us. Before you know it, he had to go reheat his chowder twice during the 4 hours. And then here comes Brent Musburger, getting ready for his, 3:30, 4 o'clock show in the back. So he has been a godsend. I don't believe in coincidences like you and I. I truly believe that the man upstairs has plans, and they put people in your life at certain situations and for reasons. And you're in my life, and you're not going anywhere.
I'm happy to be there, Jeff. That's a great compliment, and I think you do a great job. Dave, I have the same experience with Dave a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
We were watching a game in a bar in Vegas, not on the strip, 15 miles in, the suburbs of Las Vegas. And somebody said, Sharapan's coming by. Well, I never met Dave before. I, interacted on social media with him. I was following him. He wasn't following me. And I asked him for a follow, and he said, I don't follow anybody I don't know. So I got to know him real well, and I got that follow. But he, like you, is a good guy. He's very knowledgeable. I'm with you. The in-game betting thing came up. Yeah, with the clients and the investments that we're making for clients, it wouldn't be fair to them for me to in-game bet, so I'm going to stop that, and I'm going to play the side, the total maybe, and in baseball, a lot of first fives where I can get out a couple hours. This morning, 3 plays I have today, I got them out at 7 o'clock in the morning. For the people in the West Coast, it's 4 a.m. I hope they have their alerts on. But I hate to see people when they bumped up to 7.5. I'm watching that Purdue line just go up and down. But that was great. Thank you, Jeff. That was a great surprise to have our friend, the sportsbook consig, Dave Sharapan, on. Just awesome. He is the true legend.
I coined him the real Vegas Dave for a reason. When I met Kelly Stewart, Kelly in Vegas now with Barstools, she was going to be our proxy for the contests, and I got a 45-minute interview with her, and Billy Krakenberger was there as well for the 4-segment piece on Showtime Action. And Needless to say, I was runner-up for the fourth part to the Vegas Dave, the scam guy, and so when I met the real Vegas Dave, that's how I coined him there, and the rest has been history. But I wanted to piggyback for 1 second on the in-game, and I think this is imperative for all the newbies out there, the new clients, or the people that are wanting to jump in. And you talked about time zones. We're in the start of our 8 years and 3 months. We went public January 1st, 2015. We have clients all over the world, as far down as Australia, China, Japan. We have 42 of the 50 states, Mexico, Canada, and the time zones are a big thing. And so when I had clients in Australia and we're playing afternoon baseball, they getting all upset because they're sleeping. And so the in-game, you can't win. So I talk about pre-flop, as Dave brought up, because you only have a certain window in an in-game, obviously. You only have a 12-minute window at half times. And so if you sent out something at halftime, if you win, everyone's going to say they didn't get it in on time. If you lose, everyone in the world's going to have got it. So to stick to your system and don't stray away. If you want to tell your clients, hey, make sure you're following me on social media. If I see any opportunities, turn on your notifications. I'll put it on my timeline. You can do what you want with it, but I'm just gonna stick and stay with what's going to work best for everyone.
No, that makes all the sense in the world. I mean, you let them know. That's why. I mean, Jeff, you have an organization behind you, and I'm a solo guy. You don't do everything alone. I mean, you do a lot of your own work and everything, but you've got a good support staff. You're an investment company. A legitimate investment company. It's just sports that people are investing in, and you're giving them the information they can use. Me, I'm just an old time bookmaker. That's become a sports handicapper. I've never called myself a professional, although I try to carry myself as one. But it's important that I'm going to run my thing a little different. I only want X amount of clients because I want to be accessible to them. I want to be able to answer their DMs, and this kind of pays for things that I utilize my tools. I'm going to buy another MacBook, today, just so I can have more tools around me. It's about a 10-hour, 11-hour a day grind plus watching the games. You, like Dave, we be getting about 3.5, maybe 4 hours of sleep every night. And that's
Tops.
just and a lot, yeah, tops. And that's a lot of these guys. I mean, I'm glad I got my glasses on, but as you can see, the bags are going, the eyes are half shut. But no, it's a tough. Dave made a good point. This was the toughest week of college basketball that I ever witnessed, and I attribute it to sharp lines and the line movement. But yeah, Jeff, it was. I'm just still thrilled that Dave was on. He's just such a great guy.
Well, and I talk about it. I call it the spaghetti strainer. We went into yesterday 6-0. We went 1-1, and we're 7-1 this week. But on the desk, I noticed that NC State opened up 2.5 overnight. There was a flip to Clemson. I thought San Jose was the right side there. I thought Arizona was the right side. I liked their team total over. And in hockey, I thought the Kings was definitely the right number there. And so we graded out 1-1. We lost 20 cents for the day. Meanwhile, my desk was 5-0. And it's a kick in the nuts. But listen, when you're on a 6-0 start of the week, you're up 6.5 units, including the dogs. Plus, I gave them a pizza and beer winner that won. So technically, a lot of my clients were up 7.5 units. I'm not going to put anyone's bankroll at risk. We're going to pick our spots, as Dave said, 2 or 3 soft lobs, hope to get a couple swish. Saturday the same way, and then Sunday we're 24 hours away from Envelope Monday.
Well, you bring up a good point. You got your 5-0. This week on Monday, I started 10-2. I was 10-2, up to that point. So on Monday, here I am, 10-2. My last 12, 9-2, whatever it was. And get a 1-2 one day, a 2-2 the next day, and what I'm doing now that I have people to answer to is that I'm placing bets every day. This is something that I wouldn't as I did it myself last year, and my average bet was 400. As you know, I tweeted out every bet and bet stamped every bet I made so that I could show that I'm a winning handicapper, winning sports better, and the profit was $40,000. Now I've lowered my unit size to $200 per unit. And as we talked about earlier, you'll bump it up to a unit and a half. I'll bump it up as I did last night, and I took a hit, 2.2 units on Illinois. I gave them a 1 extra point advantage. I used my power ratings; they were up by 5, and then they just collapsed. But people have to understand, and I really hope they will, that betting every day is a degenerate strategy. At least multiple games. You could find a winner, or at least attempt to find one winner a day. So some days you might have only one game out there. Some days you may have 5. But for me, I think 5's the max. So I don't know how you feel about that, Jeff. I never asked you before. How do you feel about max amount of games? What do you like to keep it at?
Well, I'll say this: your 3 words to live by are, and I call them your best friends, is the risk. Meaning, if you got into especially come baseball season, you start dipping into the minus 130s, the minus 135s. People start to get a little squirrely. I always tell them this: risk your normal size wager and just profit a little less. So you're going in. If you're $100 better, you're not risking 135 to make 100. You're risking 100 to make 65. And if you lose it, that's number one. Number 2, hedge. If you have opportunities to hedge, I'm a believer. A lot of people out there aren't, but if you have opportunities to hedge, I call it free money. If you walked outside your front door and there was $100 bill sitting on your stoop, would you bend down and pick it up? 100 out of 100 would say, yes, of course I would. Well, thank you. If you have an opportunity to get some free money, go grab it. That's number 2. And last but not least, pass. You hit it right on the head. I call it the square peg in the round hole, because when you study long, you study wrong. And we're trying to appease the clientele. I get that. Hey, Jeff, there's 35 games going on. You sent out one play, we're 1-0. You sent out another play, we're 2-0. I still got the 7 o'clock games, the 9 o'clock games. Oh, and by the way, Hawaii tips off at 11:30. What are you going to do for me? You know how hard it is to make 2 or 3 units in one day? Yeah, I do. Well, thank you. I'll see you tomorrow. So, in other words, you can pass. I'm a 1 to 3 play a day guy. On Saturdays in college football, college basketball, we might send out 1, 2, or 3 alerts with 3 to 5 plays tops. But again, you're going to start to build your philosophies. You've been doing this. You were in the risk room for 20 years. Now you're out here in public's eye. And with social media, it's even bigger. So you wake up in the morning, like you're studying that Purdue game. It's 7.5, 7.5. Ken Palm's got it 66-61, which to me tells me this. Purdue will probably be up 7 and give up a layup at the buzzer, and it's going to land 66-61. And so again, when we keep studying, our pregame talk about, listen, Indiana goes box to wire today. They win by double digits. God bless you. But you and I both know the right side on that game is Maryland. That is the side that you're supposed to play. And will I play it? I don't know. We'll see. I know this. I'm not running to the window playing UConn minus 3.5 today when I got a plus 350 ticket on them to win the Big East. Now, part of me might say, maybe you should take Marquette plus the 3.5 today, JD, just in case they don't win. Well, I'll take my shot, get to the finals, hopefully, God willing. And if they're playing Xavier or Creighton, I'll see what the number is, and I will guarantee you this: I'll have something, some way to guarantee us at least a +2 unit cash on the finals of that Big East if UConn makes it there.
Absolutely. And you know what? I just saw it in DraftKings. Boy, I'm on that Purdue Rutgers line. DraftKings just went to 6.5. So the resistance, as we configure now, I'll wait for another 6.5 to pop up. I won't wait on the show, but the resistance was 7. My number was good at 7. But you're right. I will tell you this: if I can get Maryland plus the 2 points, I'm on that game, and that's going to be a play that I'll tweet my ticket out. But I really firmly believe that Maryland will give Indiana a game. I know it's in Chicago. It's going to be majority Indiana fans, but it didn't help Illinois last night. And Purdue at one time Penn State at one time was 3 for 15 from the 3-point line. And one of my caps on that game was if they can keep Penn State from shooting from outside the arc, then we can stay close and even beat them. And they did, but their inside game was horrible. But Jeff, I know on our show today, that was great. It's awesome stuff, bro.
Well, as I always do to close out, John, the stage is yours. Tell everyone where they can find you, where they can DM you or reach out to you for potentially signing up for your services.
All right. Well, you can always follow me at Murges John, and feel free to DM me. I have a lot of people to answer to or get back to. And listen, my friend, I wish you a profitable and just fun weekend. Enjoy all the app play and everything else. In the meantime, I got to go see Angelo over at the bar later on and collect for last week.
God bless you. We're going to get back to our normal schedule, which is Tuesday at 10:30. No, Wednesday at 10:30, correct?
That's right. Wednesday at 10:30. Would you do me a favor and say hi to my buddy Matt Grissom for me? And Johnny V. Good young man, Johnny V.
Yes, at 2 o'clock today, we will have Matt Grissom and Johnny V. We're going to talk some college baseball. Everyone jump on there. At 3:30, we're going to try for the third time the debut of Stephen Nover, who's writes, does a lot of work for pregame.com. He's in Vegas. Writer, professional gambler as well. And then myself and Riley will do the closing bell around 4:30, 5 o'clock today. We can't wish you the best. I'm so glad that you enjoyed the little surprise today in the studio.
I did.
And look forward to catching up with you real soon, John.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank all the listeners. Listen, go enjoy brunch. Go have some fun. Go reach out to Johnny at Murges John. Tell him ECSI sent you. He'll take care of you very well. Other than that, enjoy the first games, and we'll see you back here at 2 o'clock.